It feels like an eternity since we've sat here and talked hobby. Here is episode number 29, a week later of Hobby Talk, a cardboard podcast. As always, I am with Ricky. Ricky, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing good so far. Celtics were crazy the other day. I'm glad they're back. Only good thing going on in Boston sports right now. But I'm good. How about you, Murph?
I cannot complain for the time being. We have a ton of stuff to get into, but of course, the pleasantries must take priority. But I am good, thank you. I'm very excited to be here to be talking with you about sports, about Pokemon. We're going to dive into because you have become quite a Pokemon enthusiast over the past few weeks, couple months, give or take. So, very excited to be discussing that with you later on in today's episode. I know you just kind of talked about Boston sports. It's a great time right now to be a Celtics fan specifically, but I know that you're going to be a little bit of a Bears fan. But I kind of want to. How's the Caleb Williams hype going? How's
um,
that train riding?
I think what are they 4-2, something like that. They're cautiously optimistic, but I think they're liking them around here. It definitely feels like a change, especially compared to last year. People automatically were writing him off because stupid stuff like he cried at games or he paints his nails, stuff like that, which is whatever. But no, he's playing very well. The first two games were rough, but the last few have been very good. So I think people are starting to realize his actual potential.
Now, I think Caleb Williams' play this year is a little reminiscent of Justin Fields in his rookie year. I know the Bears still finished very poorly, but again, young, hot rookie shows flashes. Team's not fully there yet. Obviously, there's patience that need to be had. People are very, very impatient with the Patriots here with Drake May, but they have seen him play a couple weeks and they're very, very excited all of a sudden. And they have all the patience in the world. But when he was benched, oh, not benched, but when he was sitting, they had no patience. So it's very much a tale of two coins. But football is definitely obviously in the full swing of things. And just kind of looking at our little chat over here with our topics, we're actually not planning on talking about football. Now, maybe we dive into that later on. But Ricky, where would you like to start with our topics?
Well, actually, I just want to get into this real quick because I feel like it's important. So I was recently watching a sneaker YouTuber, Soul Swapping. He made a video about how he got scammed on I forget what platform, whatever. He got scammed using
Like PayPal?
PayPal. Yeah, so he got scammed using PayPal goods and services. He was the one who was paying. So, long story short, he was buying shoes from some guy, and I guess the guy must have known the loophole. Loophole
What's this
being
loophole?
there's a clause in the goods and services terms and agreement that if you are using goods and services to pay for goods meant for resale, then they're not eligible for a refund.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Do you
you
have
got to
to
be.
provide like a resale certificate
I
when
don't know.
you're
So he must have put like in the notes 30 or whatever pairs of shoes, and then like obviously they're not all for you. So yeah, so I guess you got to be very careful even if you're using goods and services as a buyer.
it's funny you mentioned that because when I had the Giratina Altart that was a pristine 10 from CGC, a guy messaged me saying, "Oh, would you take 1,000 for it? PayPal." Obviously, expecting goods and services, and at that dollar amount and that card, I was very cautious. Didn't know the guy. Obviously, if it's someone that you know, it's a lot more easy for you to trust somebody. But I didn't know this guy, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. And thankfully, he trusted me with, I think it was Cash App that we used. But my thing with about the goods and services is they get the card, they like it. What's to stop them from saying, "Oh, I never got it in the mail. I want my money back." So, like, goods and services is obviously going to protect the person that's sending the money from getting scammed out on things. So to hear a small loophole, not so much surprise because I feel like there's ways around everything, so to speak. Hopefully it gets out there a little bit more so people are more well aware of it. Would this, do you think, shape how the buying and selling market on Facebook, on Instagram, online even kind of change things, do you think?
Do I think it's going to change? Not much. I You still have to do due diligence when you're buying and selling. Make sure you get the correct card, make sure it's not a scam,
Mhm.
make sure you can trust the people, all that stuff. So yeah, like you just said, there's always loopholes around everything, but you just be careful either way. But one way to combat your thing as a seller for goods and services, always upload tracking data to PayPal. Always upload tracking data
Mm,
to PayPal as a seller, so that if they
that's
say it's
smart.
so that if they say it hasn't been delivered, their PayPal could be like, yes, it has. So yeah, but yeah,
I don't know. I feel like even like if I was to upload the tracking data, like they could just kind of complain, say, "Oh, they sent me the wrong card. They sent me a box of rocks," and I just don't want a third party arbitrator getting in the middle of it when I
no,
know what I did was send the correct card out. And maybe this is just my position because I'm more of, obviously a brick and mortar shop, but not doing much of things online. But some people do conduct most of their business online, so they kind of know the ins and outs of things, maybe loopholes like this. But no, there's definitely ways to protect yourself. And I don't think this will have too much of an impact. I think people will still continue to be cautious and still conduct deals either way because that might be the only way that they can make some money is doing it
mhm.
online.
I wanna hear about this Facebook post they're talking about.
Yeah, so this is another quick topic. We'll kind of bang out a couple quick topics real quick to start today's episode. Let's see, good old present, share screen. Here it is. Is this it? But okay. So I was scrolling on Facebook. I forget what time in the morning it was, but it was definitely over the course of the morning. And I found a Facebook post that says, "Full throttle buying right now. While many are slowing down due to repackers cutting them off, I am buying more, paying around 90% on $300 to $30,000. All sports. Looking to buy groups of cards, instant cash out, easy negotiations. PM me, comment, or text me at whatever the phone number was. Everything okay over there? Building burning down?"
I know that sounded loud.
So I get that all the time too. Now I did in Johnson, not here, not too much. Uh, Ricky, is this kind of a post like something that I don't want to say it's a flex, but I don't know. Is this like necessary to have all this cash flaunted around a thick Bank of America money bag? How many people are buying $30,000 worth of cards? Does a post like this actually translate into completed deals?
So first of all, I think I know who this is.
You probably saw
Second
it.
of all,
Probably saw
yeah.
it.
But second of all, it's always a I don't want to say that it's always like a flexing competition. There's no need to ever show your money like that. And whenever people post these kinds of posts, they get flooded with comments, whether it's legit or not.
You can see
Sometimes
that there's
actually,
no comments because it's friggin' 3 in the morning that I probably screenshotted this.
sometimes scammers will post these kind of posts looking for good cards that aren't pictures of good cards that aren't coined. So they'll Photoshop their own coin into the good card picture. But
That's crazy. See, again, do your due diligence and be cautious. But again, another reason why I don't like doing deals online is because of what you just said. And I I never even thought of that. Using a post like this to kind of plant the seeds of another scam post, because in a way this would be its own scam post as well. having all the money on the table like that kind of just reminds me of like walking around like the National. I've seen it the most, or some bigger shows where it's just a case full of cash, and there'll be like
Mhm.
a $50,000 band just kind of sitting in there,
Yeah.
and just like
Why?
really, like really,
But oh, that's a $10,000 stack of cash. I'll give you 7,000 for it.
yeah, right. I'll give you 70%. I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see if this something like this does translate into completed deals, if it's legit authentic. I mean, it's definitely a good, good marketing, full throttle buying, I'm buying at
Mhm.
90%, all sports. The if it's real, the attempt is there, but I'm just not a big fan of the cash being flaunted around. Who knows if that's even their money or their cards for that matter.
Right.
But
See,
this is really all I wanted to kind of highlight is I'm curious
I'm
if
more
other people do this as well.
I'm more so curious about what does he mean by repackers cutting them off? Is that industry slowing down?
Hmm. While many are slowing down, I think people buying because people want to be buying at the lowest percentage possible, but repackers are buying at essentially the highest percentage possible
Yeah.
because they know that they're going to be able to take $100 card and sell it for probably $200 because of the repack price, because they're also selling $20 cards for 200. I
Hmm.
mean, I know we've talked about the repacking thing quite a bit, and it's definitely one to continuously talk about and keep our eye on. But man, that has gotten out of hand even. I mean, people are solely setting up at shows just to be buying for their repacks. Instead of walking around, putting in the work and talking to people or going out and talking to people, they just pay whatever the table fee is, sit back, relax, and do the
Yep.
deals there. And they'll be like, "Oh, well, I got to pay for the table fee. I got to pay for the overhead. Oh, I need room on the card." Absolutely. Absolutely. It's stupid. We all know, we have all seen them. So that
No.
was just kind of the one thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of this. Oh boy. Okay.
So,
Let's see. We can stop sharing this. I want to pivot to we can talk about the Wemby and the Mercury stuff together in a little bit, but I kind of want to touch on, because I think this might be another quick topic, is the baseball card market. And the reason why I bring this up is because the World Series is starting. And
mm,
two of the most iconic franchises in all of baseball, and the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers, some of the most diehard fans, but also some of the most bandwagon fans as well. Multiple stars on each team, including two stars of the MLB on both teams. Ricky, in a vacuum, should baseball have such great value right now in terms of buying and selling? Do you think it should be or is super hot right now? And do you think it's through the moon in terms of just its overarching value because of everything I just said?
you mean baseball as a whole? Probably not, but Otani, Judge, Soto, Mookie, all of them. I think their cards are going to go up in the next week or so because I think it's going to be a great series. I don't want either team to win, but
Dodgers, Dodgers, Dodgers.
we have to root for them. We have to root for the Dodgers. But
Yep.
yeah, no, the world's going to be watching. These are the two most known teams, basically in the world. And then we got the Asian market with Otani and Yamamoto. So I think this is going to be a crazy World Series.
So I mentioned baseball as a whole, specifically for this reason, because we just had maybe not the league championship series, but the wild card, divisional, and you can sprinkle in the league championship series. How entertaining it
Mm.
was as a postseason, and like you said, should be a good series. Probably going to go 6, maybe even 7 games between the two teams. But all that considered, the hype of Jackson Holiday, the hype of Paul Skeens, the excitement of Bobby Witt Jr., and again Otani, your judges of the world, you would think that baseball would be through the moon. However, it's kind of tailing a little bit
Yeah.
since the start of the playoffs. It literally, once playoffs started, it just tanked. Is that because Paul Skeens isn't playing anymore? Jackson Holiday's not playing. Ellie's not playing anymore. Julio's not playing anymore. All the Junior Caminero's not playing anymore. The only really stud recent rookie out there, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, it was Jackson Holiday, who played for like the wild card series, and then he got
Mm-hmm.
eliminated. It's just past couple weeks is just tapered off. Now this is a general baseball um, index here. Obviously, it's still considering 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all different kinds of players. And I come down to here is Aaron Judge. This 2017 Bowman's Best is up 262%. Small sample size, just one card. I don't know how many sales there are. But that baseball index is considering all of these guys. Here's even Mookie Betts right here, up 123%. So I would say baseball as a whole, no, although I wish it was, and I'm sure you wish that value was up as well. But
Mm-hmm.
select guys, Judge, Soto, Betts, Ohtani, they're all up, and I could look them up, and they're probably up, but I saved the time here. But just baseball in general over 3 months is only up 3.27%. For something, we are at the pinnacle of the baseball calendar, the World Series. This is it. This is the Super Bowl. This is the finals. This is the Stanley Cup for baseball, the World Series. Shouldn't it be higher after 6, 7, 8 months of baseball, spring training, the regular season, the playoff push, the playoffs themselves, and now the World Series? Shouldn't it be higher than this? Why isn't it higher than this? What will it take for baseball to be higher than this? Do we need a World Series of Jackson Holiday and Paul Skeens? Who cares about the Orioles and the Pirates in the World Series? I mean, as a
Right.
baseball
Ugh.
fan, this is the perfect World Series for you because there's two iconic franchises with superstars on both sides. Ricky, help clarify this for me, please.
I I wish I could. It's because baseball and football. I mean, sorry, basketball and football are around. We've talked about before how those are the resellable, more flippable sports, and baseball is more collecting. So I think that's starting to show. The only people buying baseball right now are probably collectors.
Yeah. I mean, all these guys are pretty much through the moon right now. For some reason, no one likes Ted Williams anymore. But baseball as a whole is over a month is typically up. So I don't think it's an overall baseball card problem. I think it's more of a today baseball card
Yeah,
problem. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense because all these guys right here, I mean, besides Ohtani and Judge are I'm sorry, not Ohtani. Betts and Judge are the only two active players I've really seen on this list really quickly. And they're up, thankfully, but everybody else is up on this list. Besides Ortiz, Ted Williams, which no one likes the Red Sox apparently, and Jackie Robinson. That's a little weird, but so I think baseball as a whole, including its whole entire market, doesn't have a problem. But I do agree with you. Football, basketball, hockey just started for those that care. Pokemon is going to always be a thorn in these sports' bush. I just, it's so hyped up, and there's really no one to hype about besides Ohtani right now. Maybe Judge.
well, yeah. I was talking to a friend earlier. Yeah, who was a Yankees fan, so he's a little biased. He was questioning whether Otani was more marketable than Judge. I'm like, yes. Otani is an international superstar. Aaron Judge is just some guy who hits home runs.
I saw a stat somewhere that since 2018, so Otani's rookie season and Judge's second full season,
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Judge's WAR. I hate advanced metrics. I do. I think they're stupid. WAR is as far as I'll go with that advanced analytic crap. But it
Yeah.
was I forget what the exact number was, but Judge's WAR, I think it was WAR, was like 4 points behind Ohtani. Now Ohtani is both a hitter and a pitcher, which is also contributed to that that WAR number, whatever the hell it was. But Judge, being just a hitter who hits home runs, is only down 4 points. I think that's pretty impressive.
But here's the thing: Judge also plays the field.
That is
So
true. Wouldn't that help? Wouldn't that help him? He's a pretty good defender.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Uh, him playing the field has given him more WAR, assuming he's not a liability on defense. So
so
for Otani to have that WAR as a hitter, it's crazy.
well, it's just Otani in general. It's not just him
Oh,
hitting.
oh, 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 oh.
Yeah. So it's because I
Oh, wow.
personally think, I personally thought before this year and probably a little bit before, no, because he won MVP recently. I forget what year he won the MVP. Was it last year?
Last year.
Okay, yeah. So before these last 2 seasons, I personally thought Otani was very overrated in terms of a hitter. He's like a 260 kind of guy, very injury prone, low on base percentage, hit some home runs, of course, looked good at the plate. In his pitching stats, don't get me wrong, I'll take Otani as the pitcher any day of the week on the Red Sox rotation. But again, the guy before his second Tommy John was like a mid to upper threes ERA. I mean, granted, he was on the Angels, so his record didn't look the best. I mean, I'm curious to see what it'll look like with him on the Dodgers. But just everybody got all excited about Otani being hitter and pitcher. And overall, he's pretty good at both, though. I think he's a little overrated, but people hype him up to oblivion, and that's why I think he's overrated, because I don't think he's living up to that hype that people bestow upon him. And for Judge to be only 4 points behind, that I think is really, I hate saying it because he's a Yankee, but I think it is impressive. I
He,
really do.
he's he's the only Yankee that I'll tolerate besides Juan Soto. I
Real
it,
quick,
it,
do the Yankees re-sign Juan Soto?
I hope not, but
So Aaron Judge is the face of the New York Yankees, correct? I think we can both agree on that.
right.
He is being paid $36 million a year. Is Juan Soto worth a contract starting with the number 4? And his yearly salary is also going to start with 4. Probably.
Well, so here's the insane thing: Juan Soto is still only 25. So he can sign like a 3-4 year contract and then become a free agent in his prime.
Again in his
Imagine a
prime.
Yeah, I was gonna say, imagine a prime Juan Soto. But
Because like my thing is I just don't see the Yankees paying more for a player more than
then
their captain, the face of their franchise, the best player that they've had in over a decade, maybe even longer. Because I know A-Rod was kind of washed up a little bit towards the end. Jeter, different kind of player. I don't
average.
think they've had this kind of player since A-Rod's prime, the 2004, 5, and 6 when he was winning MVP back then. And you're going to pay Juan Soto, who's just as good, don't get me wrong, but he's not the face of the Yankees. He's not the captain. He hasn't been there for 7 years. So I'm curious to see how that market plays out.
I mean, I'm sure Judge isn't the type to care if someone's getting paid more than him. And at this point, that's the market now. All these crazy contracts. He's gonna get paid. But
The market for sports in general is ridiculous. The amount of money, guaranteed money that these players are making. I'm happy for them. I'd rather see them get paid than the owners. But holy crap.
yeah, I was saying, if you think they're getting paid a lot, imagine what the owners are making.
I mean, I'm sitting here saying, oh, do I think Soto is going to make more than 4, a contract starting with 4? And I think the answer is yes. But
Yes.
we could even be asking ourselves, will he make a contract that starts with 5? I mean, we were doing this with Otani last year. It's like, oh, 400 million, 500 million. Seems like that's on the table. And then boom, next thing you know, it's $700 million. It's like, wait a second, what happened here? And the player before that, your Mookies, your Judges, your Tatis, not Tatis, I'm sorry. Trout, they're all making $300 million. It's like, what happened? What $400 million spike?
Right.
What? But it's going to be interesting nonetheless. Hopefully, people keep tabs on the World Series. Uh, I think if the Dodgers do win the World Series, the Ohtani market is just going to explode even further. Although I don't think winning is as important in baseball as it is in, say, football and basketball, because baseball, I think the market is obviously very prospect and rookie centric, but it's also very statistical centric. Like no one's buying Corey Seager cards because he's a two-time World Series winner, Rookie of the Year, and I believe MVP. Or no, that was Bellinger. No one's buying him. No one's buying Mookie Betts cards because he's a two-time World Series champion, going for his third time. I mean, no one's buying those guys because of their resume and their pedigree, but they'll buy Jackson Holiday and Paul Skeens and such like that, guys who haven't proven themselves just yet. Okay.
I just want Juan Soto to go back to the Nationals.
I saw those rumors. They make sense. They do.
They have the money for it. They're going to be spending this offseason.
I said this to some guy who's a Yankees fan. The same conversation. Is he going to make more than Judge? And I threw this name out there, this team out there, because it makes sense. I don't think it'll happen, but it kind of makes sense based on the team's needs.
Boston
They would have to make a trade or two before this. What was that?
Boston Red Sox.
Yes. I don't think it'll happen because John Henry will not do that. He will not pay him. You trade one of those right-handed bats. I'm sorry, no, you trade a left-handed. No, they have too many left-handed bats, so you'd have to get rid of a couple left-handed bats. You got a couple outfielders. You trade a couple outfielders. Now you got Juan Soto who can play left and right, probably left, and then you put Duran in right because the right field's bigger. Now you have yourself an on-base guy. Now you have yourself a legitimate cleanup hitter. So you can go Devers, Soto, Cassis. You could have Soto at 2, Duran at 1, and there's so much potential there. Plus the jersey sales, plus the ticket sales, it would reinvigorate the Boston Red Sox market, I think.
See, I would fanboy hard for that. I just don't see this cheap management doing that.
Oh, I don't either.
With all these TV deals and loyal fan bases and all that, owners are starting to realize it's more profitable to just run a terrible team of cheap players, which sucks.
So it's going to definitely be interesting on how the baseball market shifts and pans out, regardless who wins, because one historic baseball team is going to win. Superstars will be winning, and I'm very curious, and I'm sure you are, to see how that unfolds. Ricky, can we get an update on this Victor Wembanyama Mercury market? Because you mentioned it, you brought it up. So I'm sure you have something you want to talk about. You said you saw something about graded Wemby cards that you wanted to kind of discuss.
So I wish I saved the post. It was talking about the 10 most graded athletes this season. And, top 10 were like in the 10,000s to 20,000s. I think I saw up to like 60,000 for everyone else.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama has had 355,000 plus cards graded this year alone.
355,000.
This year alone for Victor Wembanyama.
So I pulled up a simple thing on Card Ladder that just has his base PSA 10 at a pop of 22,000. You're saying, oh Jesus! And this is still like $100 card, just a bone stock base card. This was like over $1,000 card not too long ago.
It's insane.
So let me ask you this: are we in a junk wax era? Period. People ask me that quite often.
I'm sure you get that. I see posts like that all the time. From what I know about that era, it's still nothing like it. Yeah. I just, maybe we're in our own kind of junk wax era, but it's still nothing like the one from the early 90s.
So
just like Yeah, go ahead.
No, finish. Go ahead. You can finish.
No, I was gonna say just you could still buy cases and pallets of all that
Of
non
that old
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
So like my thing is I agree with you. I think we kind of are in its own little junk wax era. They're similar, but they're different at the same time. Whereas, yeah, there's so much being printed, there's so much being produced, but oftentimes you might not be able to find some of this stuff on shelves or at stores. Now, is that a
Right.
scalper
Right.
issue? Maybe, maybe not. But like back in the 90s, you could go to any store anytime really and find packs or complete sets or boxes, mainly of baseball, but all sports really. Whereas you don't really have that today. Now, another thing I want to kind of throw in there is there's way more money in the hobby now than there was then. There's more businesses now than there were then. So, though it's similar, but it's also different in the same breath. As I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, we should be concerned a little bit of oversaturation, especially with this Wemby market. But watching Wemby is so much easier now than ever before, whether that's streaming or watching the
Mhm.
game, checking highlights on YouTube. So people can get more connected and stay up to date a lot more easier than they could have. Let's say if Jordan playing in the 90s, you had to make sure you were watching the games or maybe checking ESPN for highlights. So people were a little bit more disconnected back then compared to today. And I think through that connection, multiple avenues of connection, again, Sports Center, fantasy, sports betting, collecting, watching. There's just so much more there for people to be invested in. So I think that's why the market is still kind of stabilized instead of just bottoming out and crashing.
Mhm.
So again, similar, but very different in its own way. But to hear 355,000, whatever the number is, and that's only going to go up because we still got 2 more months left of this year, is bonkers to me. Absolutely bonkers to me. Off the top of my head, has there ever been a guy like this in the hobby that has not only had hype, lived up to it, and is being graded out the wazoo? That's why, like, I'm not valuing a lot of Wemby cards like this Prism base card that I have on the screen here. Like, I'll value it at like 50-60% of whatever the market is because not only is it volatile, but there's 22,000 of them out there,
Yeah,
so
it's not rare.
I can find 100 of them just going to any random show.
I'm trying to think of someone like maybe Joe Burrow.
Let's see what I can find on Joey B. Joe Burrow.
Was gone. Mac Jones gone. Trevor Lawrence is done. Uh, Maybe CJ Stroud. I know they're not too hot this year. Yeah.
So I like just using the base version of these cards as the purest
Yeah.
example because they're easy to find. And if we can bring up data that's easy to find, then it's going to be more transparent in our discussion. Because if I just pull up an out of 5 Joe Burrow card, that's not really a true indicator of this market. Whereas
Right.
the Prism is pretty much the top of the line of your affordable cards. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Is your top of the line of your affordable cards, but it's also very common. So seeing this card sell for about $85, $70 to $100, and there's 7,500 of them out there. So this guy's been playing for 4 years. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been in the MVP mix. A couple injuries, sure. Like you said, they don't look good this year. But the Wemby version of this card is at 22,000,
Yeah.
and he's been in the NBA for now a year.
So
The set's
I
been
can't
out for 9 months.
I can't really think of someone equivalent then.
I don't think there
Maybe
is.
maybe Mahomes. No.
But
No.
like
Not
Mahomes
yet.
sat his first year, and he didn't have all the hype that he does now.
Yeah.
So like when we were opening, or not we, but just people in general opening 2017 Prism, like you were kind of looking for Mitch Trubisky because he was starting. You were looking for Deshaun Watson because he was starting. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes was kind of like a nice little stash, but he wasn't the guy that people were, actively looking for back then.
Yeah.
Unlike a Joe Burrow who was 1-1 overall, Wemby, who's 1-1 overall, Stroud 1-2 overall. It's completely different. But Wemby, and
He's his
in the
own monster.
Mercury set that we talked about, I don't even know where to start with that, Ricky. It was an $8,000 set. I forget what side of the podium you were on with this one. Is $8,000 too much or was that too little? I forget where you were at on that.
I forget where I was too, but no, seeing the resale price, seeing the resale prices now of the cards, I think like an out of 50 went for like 3,300. Patch auto gold went for like 3,300. 99 went for like, I don't know, 19, let's say. But like out of 50 gold patch auto debut patch, that should be one of the bigger chasers. And it's only going for $3,300. Like normally if you pull an out of 50 rookie patch debut, oh not debut, whatever. But normally if you pull an out of 50 RPA, you're gonna be excited. I can't. It's hard to believe there's a better auto in the box than an out of 50. I know there's like out of 25s and 5 and obviously 101s, but you really almost have to hit a 101 to make your money back if you buy the box.
So the retail on the box was 8,000. On eBay, it seems like it's religiously between 9 and just under $11,000. But a lot of these base cards or these base inserts, low numbers, so high number stuff, I should say, 66, 40, 46, 130. I mean, again, these are just kind of extremes, but these are the cards you're pulling out of here. This is what you're paying $8,000, $9,000, $11,000 for. 100, 306. Here's a nice RPA out of 75 for 2,500. I think the value of this set comes obviously with like the 1 of 1 or that like LeBron auto, of course, and that's what people are chasing for. I don't know if it's personally for me worth the $8,000 for a chase, but
Right.
this is what you're gonna get out of this product is $2,500 to $3,000 worth of cards out of it. I think I think the set could be undervalued if you keep it sealed long term, especially if they don't do this again, which I doubt that they will. We talked about this before. I'd like to see it with other players. But I mean, if you keep this set sealed and Wemby does become MVP and a champion, all NBA, then something like this is only going to jack up in price. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this base card for 150 is going to go up in price. That this rookie base card right here is going to jack up in price. But maybe this $2,500 card maybe goes up. I just think the risk does not meet the reward by opening it. Again, maybe keeping it sealed, maybe, but definitely not by opening, in my opinion. I mean, here's 3 out of 99s for $500. That's 3 out of the 10 cards that come out of the set or 8,
8.
9 cards? How many?
8 in the box.
Okay, so you're getting 3/8 of your pack here, of your box for $500. Where's the other 7,500 coming from? It's too risky for my blood. Too risky. Here's an out of 25 for not even $1,000. You're not even getting an 8th back with just 1 card. Here's 1 of 35 autograph for 2,100, almost 2,200. Not the ceiling, I know, but that's a pretty damn good card that anyone would go crazy over. But then once we all look it up on eBay and see we're not even making our money back, oh, I just wasted money. Oh, the market's crashing. Oh, I regret doing this. All the excuses that we hear. Ricky, if you had $8,000 laying around, are you buying this? Or would you have bought it?
I don't know. Like I just feel like there's so many better things you could buy card wise with that $9,000.
I just I don't
It,
get it.
it's hard because you don't know what the long term value of this is going to be. Like you said, if you keep it closed, like is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Because like once licensed product comes out for top, is it going to go down? Is it going to go up because it's unlicensed and rare now, or it's just too risky, like you said.
That's a question I kind of want to ask you, and I'm sure we've talked about this before with our several unlicensed conversations. Is because this is unlicensed and soon Topps will have the licensing, do you think Panini will kind of, oh, no, I'm sorry, not Panini, Fanatics would do a reissue, a reprint, so to speak, of this set? Obviously, they're not rookie cards, but now they're licensed. And if they do you think it'll have a significant impact on the market? Because, yeah, sure, it's a Wemby set, but I can now open any Topps product to find licensed Wemby cards that are also not rookies, just like this new hypothetical product is in 2 years.
Oh, but it'll be his first license card, so they'll.
Oh,
But
woo!
I mean, hell, maybe they will release another set for Wemby with the first license cards, just because first license, and people will go crazy over it. So I just wish people would stop.
Really, I mean, somebody buying this and opening it, let's say money isn't a factor, isn't an object for them. They want to have some fun, go ahead. And what's the difference between buying that and a case of Flawless? Who cares? Have fun. But for people who have that more business mentality buying this, again, unless you're going to keep a seal for a while and take that risk, which is its own risk, but again, that's the only way I'm buying it is if I'm keeping it sealed. But for people that are buying it to open it, that's very risky, like you said. And I can't fathom it. I just think in a hobby, in a world that we're taking risks, we're gambling, we're betting on these guys. I'd rather put my eggs in multiple baskets, maybe not like 100 guys, but like maybe like 5 guys
Yeah,
than
see,
just this one Wemby guy.
that's another thing too that I didn't even think about. What if he gets hurt? Like, hopefully, knock on wood, I really hope he doesn't because he's insane. But what if he gets hurt? What if he tears his ACL for a year? And that
Yeah, but
whole
Ricky, what if he wins 5 world titles?
yeah, what if
Someone
he
said that
breaks
to me
it?
one time. They were like, "Oh yeah, but he could get injured though, so that's why I should sell it to him for 70%." I'm like, okay, well, he could also go out and have a MVP kind of night tonight. I mean, we can play both sides of this.
Right.
I
No,
mean,
I know.
hindsight's 2020, but like we can't speculate like that. Yeah, it could go up, but it could also go down.
I don't know, man. That's what I was kind of say like putting all your eggs in one basket. Like that's hard.
Just what's the ceiling on these individual cards? That's what I want to know, because we have players today that are wrapping up Hall of Fame careers across multiple sports, and we're not seeing the percentage jump, or we're not seeing the demand or the hype or the popularity that this Wemby guy is having. Now, if Wemby retires today, he's not a Hall of Famer. But if a Jokic, let's say, retires, he's probably a Hall of Famer. If Steph Curry retires, he's obviously a Hall of Famer. LeBron, obviously. So I'm not saying I'd rather invest in those guys, but I'd rather invest probably in those guys, but probably in guys like them, guys that are at the tail end of their career. Durant, Westbrook, LeBron, Curry, guys that have lived a nice, healthy, long career, who have made a significant impact in the sport of basketball and, of course, other sports as well. Yeah, Wemby is a good long term, but we've already talked about this. People don't have the patience for long term. That's the thing. They want the instant gratification. Buy the rumor. No. Sell the rumor, but no. Buy the rumor, sell the news. What is
There
it?
you go.
I got it right. Here we go.
Buy the rumor, sell the news.
And that absolutely fits here with Wemby. Absolutely fits.
Yeah, but the news,
What's the news?
like what's it gonna take? What's the ceiling? Like him winning a championship, him winning an MVP, him retiring. Like when do you think his peak would come? Because his prices are already stupid high. How much
Let me
higher
ask you
can they?
this: has Luka Doncic reached his peak yet?
I I I think so. I can't.
Because
He already made the championship.
we've always said that Luka has more value than Tatum, though we think that Tatum's better and he's a better position to win. And then he does go out and win, and his market did nothing. And so he wasn't carried. He wasn't a slouch on that championship team. He played a significant factor, and he could have won Finals MVP just as easy as Brown did. So it's not like he you know got blown out of the waters in that competition there. But I think Tatum has a little bit more of a peak to go. But like Luka, his cards are already so insanely valued, and even if he does win, what is that going to do? Patrick Mahomes this past year won his third Super Bowl, didn't really go up in price at all. So I think there's a jump from 0 to 1, maybe from 1 to 2. But once you get there, can you go up any higher? I mean, Curry won the title a couple years ago against the Celtics, sadly speaking. Did that do anything for his value? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the only thing they could do now is retire for their prices to go up. I feel like, even though it's
But then
still
they
pretty.
become old news and we're not watching them anymore.
I mean, people have slowed down on Tom Brady, kind of, but once he gets the NFL nomination and introduction, whatever, he'll probably see a spike again. I think that's next year, probably, right?
It's 5 years. You have to wait. So
When
he's
does he
only
retire?
on. He's going on year 2. So 24 is
Really?
2. Yeah,
It's
you
only
gotta
been
wait
2
5 years.
years. It's only been
So
two
this is
years.
his second year retired. Yeah,
Oh my God. I mean,
22. No, hold on. 24, 5, 6, 7, 8. He'd be eligible in 2028.
oh, so maybe now's the time to stash some Brady's.
I've said this before, probably with you here, and I'll say it again. If Patrick Mahomes comes up short in winning 7 Super Bowls, which I think he will because it's tough, then I think people will start to appreciate the greatness that Brady was able to deliver. Like, I mean, Jordan still has all this value. Obviously, he's Jordan, but Brady is like the Jordan of football. And it is tough to win 6. Look at Curry. I mean, Curry and Thompson are split up after 4. Could they've easily, I don't want to say easily, but could they've gone out and won 6? Sure. Maybe if they kept the band together, they might have been able to win a 5th one between now and like the next 2 years. Maybe. But it's hard to win in sports. And I think Brady will kind of see a tick up if, say, Patrick Mahomes falls short, maybe misses the playoffs, or goes for like a 5-year run of not making it to the Super Bowl, something like that. But I agree with you. Once the Hall of Fame does come around for Brady, we're seeing all those highlights and all those Hall of Fame records and stats that won't be ever be broken. Then I think that there'll be a jump there in Brady. But again, no one else will probably see that because no one else is Brady.
I haven't looked too much into it, but now I'm wondering, with the release of the Topps football and Tom Brady having autographs in that again, how has that affected his like rookie auto market and his autographs in general? I know he didn't sign too much while he was playing, right?
I mean, I know the rookie market is not going to do anything because rookie, and
Yeah,
I think his market for autographs overall. I mean, I don't really keep up with them all too much because they're just extremely expensive. But I think that's also the thing is they're expensive, so there's going to be very little volatility unless you're strapped with cash like that to be able to
yeah.
go out and sling that kind of money around where most people aren't. I am curious to see how that market shapes out over time. The more and more and more he signs, because I look at a guy like Larry Bird. Larry Bird autographs on cards are like $200 all day. But if you want to go get a piece of memorabilia signed, it's like $300 $400 for the guy.
Hmm.
So I think we'll still see that discrepancy in the market. I don't think, and Bird is just as great of a player as Brady was, but like different era, different time, different sport. I know,
Yeah.
but like I don't think Brady's autos will ever get that low. But I also think that Bird's autos should not be that low either. Like they should be $500 autos. I mean, I looked up Bill Russell autos, and I know he's passed away now. I looked him up yesterday. His autos are like 300 bottom, and I'm like, wow, Bill Russell. I mean, those should be like north of five, six, $700. I
Well,
would think.
even David Ortiz,
Same thing.
you could get his auto for like $100.
And to go meet the guy, it's like $300 400 to get like a jersey or like an 8x10 signed.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous. And there's apples and oranges for the memorabilia in the card market. But like when it comes to the autographs, I would think they would be a little difference in it. But that's just me.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Well, actually, none of this makes sense, but
No, it never does. What might make sense though is maybe a little bit of Pokemon, Ricky. That might make sense a little bit. Uh, And I ranted about this a little bit on Instagram. I have yet to make a YouTube video about this just because I was away with Mrs. Murph giving birth. So I guess this is a good time to kind of talk about it. It might be a little old news at this point. I just want all these ads to go away. GameStop, PSA, grading. Wow, who knew? Who didn't see this one coming? Wow, this is like breaking news to me. Super quick article. I'm just gonna breeze through it really quick, Ricky, and then I will get your thoughts on it. Collectors can now submit their cards to PSA from select GameStop stores. The cards will be sent to PSA for grading and returned to the same GameStop store within 45 days. I bet that's BS. For Pokemon cards valued $200 or less, it will cost $15.99 per card plus a flat $4.99 shipping fee. Customers will receive email updates throughout the process. This same tier cost $14.99 through PSA's website, meaning GameStop is $1 more. However, the same PSA tier requires a 20 card minimum and a membership. GameStop customers can also use the trade credit and pro coupons to save more. Cards valued higher can also be submitted, but they will be charged the usual PSA fees. All cards must be submitted in penny sleeves and card savers, which the stores will sell. Last spring, GameStop announced their PSA trade-in program. Customers can sell their PSA 8 slabs or higher for cash or store credit. They also began selling Pokemon singles at certain locations. So, short article, a lot of information there, though. What do you got to take away from that, Ricky, about GameStop being a PSA submitter?
I mean, it's nice for people to have another option, I guess. But I don't know if I would trust that. I don't. It's different if like a card shop is doing it because that's their main focus. They know what they're doing. They know how to handle it. They know how to package it properly. All that stuff. I don't know if I would trust just anyone with my cards.
I got a lot to pick away here at this. And
Go ahead.
45 days, more likely than not business days. And they're
Yeah.
not guaranteed. Business day return times are never guaranteed. $200 or less. Now, I want to know if that is the card's current raw value or if that's like a declared value. Exactly. I agree
Well,
with that. So if I submit a $100 card, well under the $200 thing, comes back at 10, now it's a $400 card. How is that fee getting passed on? Is PSA going to tell me direct and I have to pay PSA directly? Will PSA tell GameStop maybe a phantom number So therefore, now I have to pay GameStop, who will reimburse PSA for me on my behalf. But now that they're taking a small little chunk just because of that phantom
Mhm.
number, uh, I think the $4.99 shipping fee, I think that's great. That's probably like the one good thing that I have to take away from this, because if you submit cards through any grading company, you're typically looking at like $30 in shipping.
The fact that it's
Customers will receive emails throughout the process. The first article I read about this did not have that. However, there's also no quote unquote paperwork to fill out. So am I just handing GameStop 5 random nice cards, 10 cards, and they're going to do the paperwork? Do I get like a confirmation? Do I get a receipt or anything like that? Uh, the when do the cards go out? Is it like once a month? Is it right then and there? Because if that's the case, then $4.99 shipping fee is a steal. Let me tell you. Uh, I'll breathe there for a second, Ricky. I don't know if you have any rebuttals to that.
no, I think you hit the nail on the head about people's concerns. Um, yeah, it does leave out a lot of information that's probably necessary that we don't know, because what we haven't really seen anything like this.
No, I mean, with the exception of like through card shops, like you kind of
Yeah,
mentioned
that's
before.
that's that's more trusted, more reliable, more legit.
I agree. I agree. Like, I think GameStop being $1 more than PSA, I think that's totally fine. If anyone has a problem with $1, I mean, that's
It
bizarre,
shouldn't be it
because
shouldn't
you
be
get
very
to save yourself on a $200 membership. You don't have to submit 20 cards if you don't want to, but also the supplies are being sold there, which is great. Are they going to do any courtesy cleanings, any wipe downs? 'Cause, I mean, that's what I do, and I know that's what other shops do. That's like their built-in um, services in the price that it costs to get a card graded is wipe down. You know, they'll clean it. They'll put fresh sleeves, top loaders in it, or card savers, I should say. Little pull tabs. They'll do all the paperwork.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's like a service behind this upcharge. So I'm curious if PSA. I mean, I doubt some video game enthusiast is going to be taking your sleeves carefully out, giving a good old courtesy clean, and then putting it back in. I want to know if cards valued higher can be submitted, but they'll be charged the usual PSA fees. So, am I still able to submit it on the usual PSA fees, but can I also submit the cheaper cards as well on the same submission? Or now do I have to pay 2 different shipping charges?
Right.
So, again, a lot of uncertainty, lack of clarity here. It's an interesting step. I've said this before. GameStop would be bankrupt and closed if it wasn't for their Pokemon sales. Could collectors be buying out and saving GameStop? Maybe. Do they want to get in the video game business? Because, I mean, why why not get into video games and cards and all that? Because GameStop's kind of turning in that direction into like a full compassing gaming shop. I just I'm curious to see how long this will last for
Mhm.
GameStop before they're no longer GameStop, if that makes sense.
I mean, CCG, they're still games, so I guess they'll always be GameStop. Um, I know they're trying to pull back. I mean, push back like digital sales. I know they're trying to push more people towards physical sales for video games. That's probably not going to happen, but yeah, this is definitely saving them. I know.
So
I haven't really peeked into the graded card sales at GameStop. Like, do they have good deals and all that?
so when the thing first came out, I did kind of look into it a little bit. Some of the nines were valued less than raws, so you might be able to get away with buying a nine, cracking it to sell it
Yeah.
more, or maybe to sell it for a 10. But then there's like a $15 shipping charge to get it from wherever to your door, because that's how they do it. The GameStops that don't have cards in store, they have to ship them.
Hmm.
I'm on GameStop's website right here for the trade-ins. Trading cards is number one, flat out number one, right here at the top. Phones, tablets, watches. Then we get into video game related things with consoles and video games. So their video game stuff is at the bottom. I don't know what the amiibo is, but that's down here too. But they're marketing and advertising other things than just video games. It's I actually I did want to go. I've done it before. Graded cards. I did like peruse the market a couple months ago. Pokemon. So like you can buy the stuff, and of course it gives you a nice little discount if you're a pro membership, and you can really see good benefits. Like I like this card here. Like they don't take cards worth more than $500, but they're selling cards for more than $500. So like I don't know. I mean, I've seen experiments, I've seen videos. I'm sure other people have as well. How GameStop comes up with their trade-in value or their cash value. I guess it's just they scan it, and whatever the number comes up is the number that the GameStop employee tells you. So like
I wonder
lack of clarity
how
there.
accurate is that market price?
Well, let's look it up. Let's take this card here. So $700 plus $15 for shipping. So let's keep that in mind. If you are pro, you get what is that? $70 off. Not a bad little deal right there.
10%.
Yeah, let me go to. I gotta go back and forth here. Zoroark. I gotta like go back and forth. Number 90. So PSA 10 market value is about 550. The last one in August did 800. I'm sure that's Japanese, I would guess. And then 110. I mean, the market shifted since then. So let's just call it $500 card, I'd say. $700. I want to know, is this Japanese here? Oh, I hate when this happens because it's longer than 3 months ago. Let me try to find one that has a lot more sales on it.
Oh, wait, so it's a pop one?
I no idea.
That's what it says in the last sale.
Oh yeah, pop one right there. I guess GameStop has that one.
So GameStop has a one?
I know this one's gonna have more sales. Let's see. 260. All right, so they're asking. I have to switch back and forth here. They're asking 260 for this card. Origin Forme, Dialga, you get it out of V-Star Universe. In America, you get it out of I can't think of it.
That one's Japanese too.
Crown Zenith. This is V-Star Universe. No, this is V-Star Universe. And it's Crown Zenith in the States here. And they have it for $53 with sales. So this is the last one that just sold, is this one right here for $50. But yet here's good old GameStop asking $270 for it.
What a steal.
If this was me, Ricky, I would be headed with terrible 1-star reviews on Google if this was me. But yet no one bats an eye with with GameStop.
That's terrible.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Sticking with Pokemon, I know we're running out of time here. Sticking with Pokemon, Ricky, thoughts on the 151 reprint? You weren't into Pokemon back when it first kind of was released. Now you are. I'm sure you've done a little bit of research on it. You probably even grew up collecting Pokemon or watching Pokemon back in the day. Are you excited for this reprint to finally get your hands on it so you can dive into the hype?
Well, yeah, I mean, grew up playing, of course, Emerald, Sapphire. My brother had Pokemon Yellow. I think I had Pokemon Red. I think that was I think my first Pokemon game was Sapphire, but yeah, no. This reprint, this 151 reprint is Japanese as of now, right? Like officially.
Oh, so actually, I had some pictures and I just closed them down. Hold on, let me pull them back up.
Yeah, so I know the English market has skyrocketed for 151, especially that Charizard. I have noticed that it has come down a little bit in the last week or so because I saw that they were asking. And
I got
saw
some
that
news on that.
I saw they were asking as much as like $700, and now I'm seeing some sell for 6. So I know it's coming down a little bit.
So the reprint has been completely confirmed for a third print of Pokemon 151 in Japan booster boxes. Hopefully that'll cool down the prices yet again, but even after the first reprint, the prices went right back up after a couple weeks. So a third reprint will probably bring down the prices. I wouldn't be surprised if it just goes back up through the moon again. Now, I did want to let's see if I can hold on, stand by. I did want to kind of highlight that there is going to be a new product that comes out called Blooming Waters Premium Collection. It's a new 151 box and it'll be released in February. So it's going to be the UPC style with the promo codes, the jumbo, the code cards, the sleeves probably, and you get 12 packs instead of 16 like the UPCs normally have. Now, I saw somewhere Blooming Waters, is that like a correlation to Venusaur and Blastoise because we've had so much Charizard stuff come out in past years? So maybe this is like a little nod towards them. I think you mentioned the prices skyrocketed and now they're coming back down, trickling a little bit. I think that's because of this announcement, which was like literally like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, not even. So I was under the impression, well, if the prices are going up through the moon, I don't think there's going to be a reprint. Prices get as high as they do, then this little reprint gets announced. Now they're starting to trickle back down. So I'm very curious to see how the market will settle. Then when this comes out, what it will do. But if you can get your hands on it, Ricky, absolutely do. Because I think it's going to be a fantastic set. I'm looking forward to selling it. It's going to be different. It's going to be fun. And it's 151. Everyone has enjoyed and loved 151 like crazy.
Okay.
So
I guess I'm gonna have to look out for it then.
guess so. I guess so. But Ricky, do we have any closing thoughts, takes, opinions, comments, concerns as we wrap up today's episode?
Um, Still buying James Wood. That's my guy, especially when Juan Soto signs with the Nationals. But no, jeez, I just wish people weren't so caught up in hype. That's really all I want to say. I wish this wasn't a hype driven market. I wish people collected what they liked more, bought what they liked more. But that's the name of the game. You have to play it. So just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I tell people all the time, I'm like, do you want your cards to be scarce and rare, but have so much value? Or would you rather them be easily accessible so everyone can have them, ourselves included, and have no value? It's like you can't have the $1,000 card, but only pay $10 for it. Uh, eh, a lot of cool artwork cards, a lot of cool looking cards, whether it's sports or Pokemon. Um, the majority of the good, cool looking cards actually have no value, and it is the hype that drives up the market. Silly looking cards end up having value because of the name on them, like a Wemby or a Stroud or, Burrow in the past. Those names will carry that card's value, not because you and I want them. It's because other people are hyping them up. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, we're buying into that hype. So no, I completely agree with you. My outgoing take is going to be have fun, be patient in this hobby. I mean, I feel like a broken record by saying this with some of the videos and content that's been made, obviously discussing about this here on Hobby Talk. People forget to have fun in this hobby. People don't know patience at all in the same breath. And I think if people can kind of maybe take a step back to kind of find that enjoyment in the hobby, and I think through the enjoyment, they may also find patience as well. I don't know if there's a direct correlation there. Hopefully there is, but people are so quick to buy something just to want to sell it. But if you can buy something,
Mm-hmm.
have fun, enjoy it, and then maybe go out and sell it, I think it would make a much better, healthier, and happier hobby for everybody involved. Maybe not for some people, but I think overall, I think it would. I mean, I think you're a great example, Ricky. You never touched a Pokemon card. You were always sports. Now you're dabbling in with Pokemon, and it seems like you're having a breath of fresh air and a little bit of a rejuvenation in this hobby by having that fun again, where sports cards were so business orientated. I like how you said that. It's so business orientated, whereas
Right.
Pokemon, you can kind of lay back and chill and just admire the cards. So that will wrap it up for today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Please press all the buttons, like, comment, subscribe. Check out Ricky on Instagram at RickyRipsMA, YouTube as well. I need to see a video from you soon, Ricky. I haven't seen one in a minute. So make sure you get on that.
Funny you
But that,
mentioned that. Your package came in yesterday. I'm about to rip it.
oh, let's go. All right. So stay on the lookout for that video. But ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you next week for Hobby Talk. We're going to stay on schedule. We will be back in just 1 week instead of our bi-weekly since I had a miss last week. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you in the next one. But until then, peace out.